Hey guys, Eric here. I got a request for a new series that I'm starting, specifically, rather generic. It's a Q&A series, and completely random, didn't expect it at all to be related, but it turns out to be fairly relative to my channel and the topics that I normally cover. And the first one I got was actually from my wonderful girlfriend. She said, I said, hey, give me a topic to cover. And she said, what makes relationships strong? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty relative to most of the stuff that I cover on my channel. So with that being said, I don't really know how else to break the ice into this introduction, so forgive the social awkwardness, but I shall begin after I acknowledge that I am working currently on getting my microphone, my Shure SM7B $400 microphone, to be set up with my computer. So pretty soon I will end up. You'll be getting high quality recordings in terms of like microphone quality. So that's pretty exciting. Stay tuned, and I'm leaving my Facebook link down below. All of you who follow my channels, you INFJs and other people who come for like my psychology videos, and hey, even if you're just like interested in the Q&A series, send me a friend request. Feel free to send me a message, but I'll be posting occasional polls for people to I just don't like using Twitter or Instagram, any of these other social media feeds. So follow my... Ouch, did I just step on a bee? Oh, that's lovely. Right, I guess I'll just walk it off. Follow my Facebook, send me a friend request, keep up to date with me, and connect me on social media. Cool, so let's get into this. So walk down a little bit more. Turns out it wasn't a bee sting. Don't know what that was, but it was painful. It's gone now. What makes relationships strong? This was a really, really vague question. But I like vague questions. It gets me thinking. Please don't spam my profile with the vague questions. Be a little bit specific so I know kind of what you're asking. What makes relationships strong? There's a lot that goes into it, and I guess I'm going to start with the first point, is communication. Now, a lot of times relationships fail for lack of communication. When you think of a strong relationship, you typically think of a relationship that is able to overcome obstacles, overcome disputes, arguments, overcome other people trying to get in between them, and it just doesn't work. Any obstacle is just kind of broken down and falls apart, and the relationship is left standing strong like it was before that obstacle ever came. So the first thing I can say, communication. What makes a relationship strong? You have to be able to compromise. That's number two. It's one thing to be able to tell the other person what you're feeling. It's one thing to be able to tell them what's on your mind. And it's great to be able to express yourself like that. And it's great to be able to inform the other person of what you're thinking and let them know what you want and what your expectations are. It's another matter entirely to be able to meet the other person in the middle. I'll avoid using any personal examples because I think that if you're going to ask a vague question, you should get vague answers. So keep that in mind whenever you're asking me what video to cover next. If you give me vague questions, you're going to get vague answers. And that's my choice, not yours. So compromising is huge. You have to be willing to say, okay, I don't want to end up spending $500 on a new vacuum. Personally, I'm content with the one we have. Maybe your wife or the person you're living with. Doesn't have to be a dating relationship, but any type of relationship. Roommate says, well, I'm sick of how loud this one is. It wakes me up, and I get that we need to vacuum, but with our work schedules, we need to find a solution. You say, okay, I'm willing to put out $150, but in return, you're going to end up doing the dishes for the next week. I don't want to have to worry about it. Perfect example of compromise. Or, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put out $500, but you're covering the electric bill this month. All right, the electric bill might only be $50, but the point is you're willing to meet the other person in the middle. And that leads me to my next point. What makes relationships strong? You need to understand, truly understand what's valuable to you. Not to the other person. That's important. But if you don't know what's valuable to you, you can't ask for what you need. And that's going to lead to a lot of frustration and conflict. When you're compromising, you have to be able to say, okay, that $50 of the electric bill is equal to me to the amount of effort I'm giving into the relationship. It's not about money. It's about what you're giving out, what you're putting in to the relationship. It's about what you are able to give. You can't give more than you have, or else you're going to feel like you're getting the short end of the stick in the relationship. That's going to come back on in the form of conflict and frustration, not because your significant other or your friend did something wrong. It's because you were not self-aware enough to diagnose the problem before it began. You have to be able to self-diagnose what matters to you. Next point. When you are trying to build up a relationship, you have to be willing to both self-diagnose and to diagnose selflessly. Meaning, and that might sound pretty simple. Let me explain. You have to be willing to diagnose selflessly. That means giving without being asked. Probably just turn the tables on some. You're like, oh yeah, I understand that. Think about the other person's need. Now you're like, oh, and now you're asking yourself, what do they need? That's what I'm talking about. There will be times in a relationship where the other person cannot explain things to you in a way you will understand. They will not be able to tell you what you want to know because maybe they don't know themselves. You have to be willing to be willing to put in the effort to diagnose selflessly. You have to be willing to look at that other person and understand they're frustrated, understand what they need, but before they ask you, sometimes before they realize it themselves. And you INFJs, congratulations, you're very good at this. When you're not thinking about yourself, you can check out my 7 Signs of an Unhealthy INFJ video in my INFJ playlist. That'll really help you, INFJs out there, be able to be a better you for the person that you're in a relationship with, or even for your friend. It's not. I think people get caught up here. Oh, perfect. I'll add it to the video. What makes a good relationship, a strong relationship? What makes a strong relationship is not being self-condemning or self-destructive. When you look at criticism, when you end up taking feedback from the person that you are bonding with as criticism, and you take it personally to a fault, you're going to end up setting a fire to something. You got to be able to take criticism, reflect on it, acknowledge that the other person isn't attacking you, they're talking to you. So I guess in a way you could say, always when I step outside, the moment I step outside, everyone flocks to me. Sir, it's a curse. You have to be willing to communicate, but you have to be able to think objectively. Not everything that is being said is a problem, and not everything that is a problem needs to be addressed. Some things are solely for the sake of learning and bettering or understanding oneself or another. Which is the final thing. What makes a strong relationship? In its simplest form, the relationship is made strong. No relationships start out that way. It takes a lot of time, bonding, talking, laughing, to the point where the bad moments just kind of make you chuckle a little bit because you can't think of life without that other person. When you have a best friend or a close friend that you get into an argument with and then you just start smiling and feeling those butterflies in your stomach because you're like, oh man, I remember. I can just imagine 4 hours from now what life's gonna be like between the two of us. Man, whenever we're laughing over a video game and both completely forget that this conversation ever happened, and you'll start laughing. It's not humans, it's animals. So much for peace, love, and gaming, am I right? I'm such a hippie. You'll end up laughing. Laugh it off. Like, don't take relationships so seriously. You're never gonna have that strong relationship if everything is a moment. Up there they went again. You just had to make something out of this. No, like, all right, so they got angry and they yelled at you. Let them yell at you. And then once they calm down, just ask them, you feel better? Yeah. Of course they're gonna feel better. They're gonna be thankful that you didn't get angry back. Understand that the person you're bonding with is a human. Humans feel emotions. So if you want to have a strong relationship, what makes relationships strong? Recognize that you're bonding with a human being. And recognize that a human being is going to be able to make your life so much better. Appreciate them. Thank them. Recognize their efforts. Meet them in the middle. Think about them. Realize that they're going to have opinions and that they need to be validated and that they are valid. Recognize that they have emotions and contribute into the emotional value of what they hold to be true. Like, if they think, hey, I really like compliments, compliment them. You're like, well, I don't compliment people normally. You might think I don't compliment people normally. It's just not something I'm comfortable with and not something that I do. I've never had to do it. Okay, well, compromise. What makes a relationship strong? You compromise. Okay, well, I'm not very good at this. I don't really know how to compliment people, but help me out here. Say, John, I don't know why, but I don't know how to give you what you need. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not familiar with it. Didn't really get compliments myself, so I don't know what to do. John would say, okay, well, just start by saying that you appreciate me, or start by saying, hey, that's a new shirt, isn't it? Yeah, how's it look on me? It looks really nice. And then compliment a specific feature. It doesn't take much. Oh, hey, I really like the way that your hair's waving today. Did you do something to it? No, I tried a new shampoo. Oh, well, it really brings out your natural waves. You don't have to. I naturally compliment people. It's one of my love languages. It's not my primary. So it's natural for me. But I also grew up in a household full of women, so I was taught from a young age, Eric, does this dress make me look fat? No, but it does cause your hips to show off a little bit more than the black dress you just tried on. My sister would say, okay, thanks. And then my mom her jaw would drop. She'd be like, oh, you just told your sister that she looked fat. And I said, well, yeah, she asked me. And Serena laughed, and she would say, don't get upset with him, Mom. I asked him because he's honest. It was nice. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, my sister and I have a good relationship. Stuff like that. Like, you don't have to take everything personally. You don't have to make everything an issue. Did you just say that this dress made me look fat? And I'm there chuckling. I mean, a little bit. You could try on another one. I wouldn't mind. And then it's like, all right, so Eric just turned this conversation into a moment of laughter or of light joking. Not everything has to be critical. So when you're trying to build a strong relationship with someone, know that it's not going to happen immediately. It's going to take time. And if you get upset because they said something that upset you, let them know, hey, could you try to be a little bit more gentle? Or, hey, do you think maybe next time you could try saying it this way? You don't have to outright say, oh, that upset me. How dare you say something like that to me? Instead of outright confronting them and saying, I really don't like it whenever you verb. Or, when you verb, that really makes me feel angry. Don't make everything so negative. If you're going to communicate with the other person, I said I was going to leave vague answers. Might as well touch on it. If you're going to communicate with somebody, do it in a way that's not so direct. Like, it's good to be direct. It avoids miscommunication. But sometimes you don't have to say exactly what you're thinking. It is okay to hint, and you might be one of those people out there who doesn't pick up on hints that easily. Communicate that. Say, okay, well, what would be a way that I could say X without you getting upset? What would be a way that I could tell you how I'm feeling without it offending you? Oh, well, avoid trigger words. When you say things like always or never, it really makes me angry. Okay, cool. I'll avoid using those words. Now you're communicating better. You have to talk. And if you get upset when you start to talk and you can never make it past that initial conversation, then one of you is not doing something right. And if the other person's not willing to meet you in the middle, they're not willing to walk with you, leave them behind. It's not that complicated. And if you don't want to leave them behind, talk to them. And if they don't want to talk about it, leave them behind. You can't make somebody bond with you. It just doesn't work that way. So if you want a strong relationship, you have to find somebody else who's willing to put in the effort. If they're going to get upset over everything you say and everything you do, they send you a video on Facebook about politics or about, I don't know, something that they find funny, SpongeBob. And you're like, well, I don't really like politics, or I'm not really interested in this kind of stuff. And they get all worked up and upset with you. Oh, okay, whatever. Oh, of course not. Yeah, I know you're not. Just wanted to let you know anyways. Not that it matters. Okay, smiley face, have a good day. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Arrogant, self-righteous people who think that they're clever, and it's obvious to everyone else who sees that they just have an attitude with you. People like that aren't worth keeping around. I mean it. They're not willing to communicate. You're never going to have a relationship with them. Face the facts. Face reality. Either they need to change or else you need to change. And if you're not the problem, what's the problem? If there's not going to be a solution, stop trying to fix the problem. You're dealing with a human being. Humans bond. And if that human, who has free will by the way, doesn't want to listen to you, stop trying. Tell them, okay, well, when you're ready to talk, I'll be here, and then leave it at that. And if they never want to talk, you're never going to get anywhere. Stop trying to communicate with somebody whose mindset is one-sided. What makes a strong relationship strong? Bonding. You know, if you can't keep walking with that person, they cannot keep walking with you. Don't stop and wait for them to catch up. And if you do, give them a deadline, because it shouldn't be a reoccurring issue. If they lag behind a bit, talk to them, figure out why it's happening, and if they refuse to fix the issue, you're looking at a stone wall. Until that issue is addressed, the problem's never going to stop. Use your best judgment. You want to pour into that relationship, be my guest. But purely speaking from experience, and this is completely subjective, so don't take it with a grain of salt, throw it away. Everything else before this video has been objective. This is subjective. It is my personal feelings. And from my personal experiences, when someone doesn't put in the effort and they continue to repeat the same mistakes after you address them, after you tell them, hey, stop like having those little tantrums that you do whenever you go on fits, okay, whatever, I guess I'll just be alone today, frowny face, look. You stop it with the drama. Like, grow up and talk to me like a normal human, not like a 9-year-old. And if you can't do that, get out of my life. You're not helping me. Apparently, I'm not helping you. So I won't waste my breath. I won't waste your time. You don't have to waste mine. I'll give to you what you're giving to me. You want to give to me effort? I'll give to you effort. You want to try to talk to me? I will talk to you. You want to ask of me? I will ask of you. It's a give and take. That's a relationship. It's not one-sided. You want to scream at me? I will sit there and listen. And then once you're done screaming, I will try to figure out what I did, if it was me, that set you off. Then I will try to stop setting you off. If you keep blowing up about different things, I will figure out what else I am doing to set you off. If you continue blowing up for no reason whatsoever, then we have a problem. And it's going to be addressed. And I'm going to be addressing it with you. And if you refuse to meet me in the middle, there's no point in my talking to you in the first place. I will give you your space, and whenever you are ready to say, hey, I was acting like a pretty big fool. Can we talk now? I'll be like, yeah, what do you want to talk about? I'm listening, and then I'll listen, and then we'll talk. and then we'll figure out a compromise, and then we'll move on. And then we'll continue bonding together, because that's what makes a strong relationship strong. And if you don't want to meet me in the middle, and from my experience, if another person doesn't want to meet you in the middle, let them know whenever they're ready, you'll be there. And if something happens in life and they come back in 2 years and they're like, yo, I'm sorry, I messed up. Like, I'm married. Like, I have too many other priorities. I can talk to you, but you missed out. Like, there's nothing I can do for you now. Sometimes people throw away relationships without any regard for you, and it has nothing to do with you. But understand that what makes a strong relationship strong is effort and a willing spirit. I love what the Bible says in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah was praying. He said, God, take from me my stony heart, my hard heart that rebels against you, and give to me a heart of flesh that I may listen and understand your precepts. Isn't that amazing? He recognized that he was the problem. He recognized that his heart was the issue, and he didn't know what to do about it, but he was willing. He asked God for, and David too, David in the book of Psalms says, God, grant me a willing spirit. I love that. So if you are one of those people who cannot figure out why you're so angry, might as well start in prayer. Unless you're willing to talk to somebody, and if you keep breaking down and can't talk to somebody, consider praying. You might find that a little bit of self-reflection is all you need. And I'm not saying prayer is self-reflection, but I am saying that a lot of time, the two go together. So, this video was a little bit lengthy. I hope to make shorter ones in the future. It was very lengthy, but it was very good and very educational. So I hope that this has helped you. Again, I left my Facebook link below. Friend me, send me a friend request, send me a message if you want to. I don't communicate with people on my friends list, just a warning. This is purely for the sake of keeping up to date with my YouTube channel and vice versa. You know, if you want to send me a message, hey Eric, can you pray for me? Hey Eric, this is going on. Hey Eric, can you make a video about this? Sure, but don't blow up my phone. You know, I have posts, I have polls for a reason. So let's stick to that. But yeah, send me a friend request, follow me on Facebook, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.